What are you doing?
Putting on a face mask.
Why?
Self-care.
Good
morning! This week we are talking about self-care. When we think about self-care on the surface, I think mostly about face masks and bubble baths.
And I think about massages. Self-care is more than just skincare, relaxing with a glass of wine or bottle in a bubble bath.
Self-care is generally defined as an intentional action that you take to take care of yourself and better your health, whether that be physical health, emotional, or mental.
Self-care is something you should focus on at least once a day, and Bri's self-care is completely different than mine. It's not up to anyone else to define what your self-care should look like.
Self-care is meant to guard you, but that doesn't mean that because of self-care, your life is going to be magical and bubbly and full of smiles. But it centers you and it gives you an opportunity to think of nothing and focus on nothing but yourself.
Self-care can be anything.
Oh, I didn't even know we were recording, I'm sorry.
Self-care can be anything. It could be traveling somewhere far, somewhere close, going outside to take a walk, going shopping to buy something small or big for yourself, playing video games.
I did that last night.
Alright, you can say that. What did you do last night, Brianna?
I had a dance party in our kitchen by myself when I was home alone and cooking dinner for Stefan. Your self-care routine should be special to you, and it should also be important to you. You have to make time for it, and you also have to not kick yourself for wanting to make time for it. What one person may define as self-care for them might seem really daunting to you. For example, when Allie gets home and she had a really stressful day or is feeling like she needs some self-care, she immediately goes and cleans or reorganizes her room. While I appreciate having a clean room, and I'm definitely very type A, sometimes self-care for me is actually walking away from the messy room and allowing myself to become recentered before I can revisit it. If I'm not working at my best, or I know something is not going to turn out in the most perfect way that I want it to, I have to walk away and take care of myself first before I can give that task my full attention.
When we were in Ithaca, we tried to stay away from our phones as much as possible, shutting off notifications, trying to just be with each other and not worry about what's going on around us.
So a lot of times social media stresses me out, especially when I come home from work after a long day of not looking at it and there's just an overwhelming amount of content to get through. But ever since we got back from Ithaca, I've left my notifications for all social media off on my phone, which has been really helpful in unplugging and detaching from the social media world, and it's done a lot for my mental health, honestly. Self-care isn't a one-time deal, and oftentimes it changes while you change as a person.
Go. If you're struggling to decide what your self-care routine is, try writing down things that you like to do. What makes you happy, or what calms you down.
If that's slathering on a face mask and hopping in the tub, then you keep doing that. But just make sure you're not hiding behind that face mask. To hear what Allie and Alvin have to say about self-care, make sure to follow our link to our website below and follow us on Instagram at 20NYC.
We'll see you next week.
Bye!
This is how I self-care.
What?
Is this a good shot?
Yeah.
Is this a good shot?
What are you doing?
Nothing. Editing, actually. This is how I edit.
Cool.